Hey, it's Sarah Jane from Access Your True Nature. Welcome. It is day 20 of the 28-day Active Appreciation Challenge. And here I am again, just waiting for you to all come on through. Hi, Darlene. Nice to see you. Some of you know that I came back to Johannesburg yesterday, and honestly, I'm curious to know how you're feeling. I'm feeling a little funky today, hence the topic of today's appreciating of emptiness. Hi, Susan Schatzer. Nice to see you here. So tell me, what are you hungry for? What are you hungry for? What are you filling yourself up for? And what if we could actually just appreciate beautiful you. Thank you. What if we could just appreciate being empty? You know, I think a lot of people are afraid of being empty. You know, and I often hear people that come into my practice and come and work with me saying they just feel empty inside. And I know that we're made so wrong, aren't we, for being full of ourselves, of not being able to really fully appreciate that we should be full of ourselves. Because if you're not full of you, who are you supposed to be full of? Hi, Ricky, nice to see you here. You know, suppose just for a minute, and I'm not sure where this is going to go today, but play with me anyway. I'm going to try and keep it under 30 minutes. Hi, Christina, nice to see you. Yeah, funky energy. Very funky, and in a good way. You know, what if we could just appreciate the funky wonky chucky doodah, crappy poopy, whatever it is, and just appreciate being in that moment. But I was kind of having this profound thought today of how we fill ourselves up, and I was listening to a friend of mine, and he was kind of doing a confession video of where he was in his life, where he'd sort of given up his home and he had become a traveling nomad, and how we are actually called into doing our work sometimes to fill ourselves up. And I think as healers, a lot of you are healers and energy workers. Yes, Susan Schatzer, I can be full of in this moment. Anyway, you're distracting me, cuteness, but thank you for that. I can appreciate distraction as well. A lot of the time, it just is about asking, you know, what is required of me in this moment, and what if it is just to be empty of thought, empty of a purpose, empty of any expectation, and just to show up. And we're getting to the end of this 28-day challenge, so if any of you are still interested in taking this work deeper, you might want to take me up on, hi Lindsay Jones, on that clarity to health and wealth and how to live deeply happy, that you can find over at Access Your True Nature. Thank you for the hearts, thank you for the love. So emptiness, and I'm curious, type in the comments below, tag someone that might be interested in joining this lazy active appreciation challenge on a Saturday. Let them know that we're playing in this place of conscious co-creation and collaboration, and think about this while you're tagging your friends and coming on in here. Is just, you know, suppose we talk about being empty as something that we don't want to be, and if we're not full of ourselves, then who are we supposed to be full of? And I was thinking about this thing about, you know, just because the sun is behind the clouds doesn't mean we can't receive the energy from the sun and the good vitamin D and everything else. And if we returned the sunshine to the sun, if that was even possible, or the tree that we'd made, the paper that was made out of a tree that had been cut down out of a forest back to the tree, would it be possible? And please post your comments below and let's get this conversation going. Otherwise, it's no fun for me to just speak to myself. So, you know, without sunshine, nothing can be, can it, really? I mean, nothing on this planet could be. And if we kind of returned the logger to his mother, and then we'd have no sheet of paper, or that whole story about what came first, the chicken or the egg. But before the the chicken laid the egg was still there, still an egg. The life was still there. So if it's a non-life, then what would it be? You know, what does that look like for you? To look at that there can't be any emptiness. And the contrast of being full of yourself, being filled up by mana, by the substance and the very existence of our life, being filled up with conversations like this, being filled up with sadness or grief or joy, and all the non-elements or the inside of that. What does it look like for you? And let me know if I'm making any sense at all, because I'm, like I said, I'm in a bit of a funky, philosophical, wandering kind of mood today. But how can it be that there is ever anything that's empty, and yet we're so afraid of being empty, of being less than, of being without, of that there's always sort of this connotation of loss attached with being in the state of emptiness. And, you know, if we had non-thoughts or non-elements of the mere elementals that exist in the world, like our mind, like the logger that cuts down the tree, like the sunshine and everything, then who would you be? Who would you be? Am I losing you? I see you're all dropping off here. And that's okay. I can be in that space as well of empty space, because there isn't really empty space. There's me looking at my iPhone screen, and I am with me and the non-me and the inside of me, and the contrast of being in the space of being filled up with words, with thoughts, with the sunshine. And that if there is nothing, no thing and everything, then even, you know, the end of my hair contains the whole of the universe. So there can never be emptiness in anything. It's sort of that microcosm of the macrocosm. And for me, emptiness really is this awareness of, if I am empty, then I'm empty of me being a separate space or a separate self. Hello, Michelle. Nice to see you here. Anyone wants to write a book, Michelle Founder-Pass is one of the most amazing catalysts for that. Hi, Virginia. Nice to see you. I'm having a bit of a profound moment all to myself. So I'm really grateful to have some company on these great wanderings through looking at, if I am not me, or if I am not filled up with me, and if I am the space between no thing and everything, then can I ever really be empty? Yeah, I'm pretty deep today. Yeah, I get like this sometimes. I was just always kind of get like this when I've coming up to my birthday, that it's not really a rebirthing at all. It's just a continuation of me. And that life really is that. It continues without us, and yet the ego wants us to be filled up with thoughts and things and spaces and places and people. And I think form is emptiness, and I'd love your thoughts on that, of the contrasts of being filled up or full of yourself, and also allowing yourself the space to be empty of thought, empty of substance, empty of everything. And see that neither is right or wrong or good or bad. It just is what it is. And that emptiness actually is form. You know, form is not, it's not other than emptiness. And I think I can't even say that, tongue twisted today. But that the emptiness is just the contrast of form. And isn't that the same thing that we do when we're not filling our lives and our bodies up with feelings and perceptions and illusions and fantasies and mental formations and consciousness? Isn't that the opposite of empty? You know, think of it like this: like every cell contains the entire universe, and every cell cannot be independent of another cell, just like our organs and endocrines and body parts. Our body is held together in form, and form is kind of like the waves. So if we're just waves of consciousness and the emptiness is the water, then we are both form and emptiness at the same time. We're kind of everything and nothing, because we're 90% space and 70% water. So how can we sort of shift our perception in this active appreciation challenge to start to realize that if, you know, we're trained to think in Western societies, and I love my work with the Chinese medicine and the ancient wisdom of the sentience and the animals and nature herself, because there is always a season for everything, and one season cannot exist without another, and yet we make ourselves separate. Hey Susan, thank you for sharing my video. Let me know what you're thinking in this moment. Yeah, in this form of conversation today, a little different to the other challenges, but just what I wanted to share, because that's kind of what I've been swimming in today, in this thing of looking at a circle that has no beginning and no end, and yet in Western society and the way that we've been programmed and trained, and that we have to do the unlearning of actually seeing, I think only when I'm empty I can really be full. Yeah, not with ego. Hello Libby Crow. But with really being. Yeah, it's a bit deep and profound today, but I was just wondering, you know, and looking at the dance, because I think we're dancing, our molecules are dancing all the time. I love Bruce Lipton's work, and my work in Chinese medicine really has been about the consciousness on a cellular level of if every cell is expressing its own individuation of the whole, then can you ever truly be empty? So, you know, we look at a ring or a circle that has no beginning and end, and yet we're taught that it means nothing, that we're nothing, that's zero, it's zip, it's like non-existent. And we're all wanting to create a positive impact in the world, and we're all wanting, in the deepest desiring, not from a lacking definition of need. I love Bruce Lipton too. Biology of Belief was probably one of the first books that I really got this concept of form and fullness and emptiness, and that connection that we are all little cells dancing together, and that we can't really create in a vacuum. So in India, in Ayurvedic cultures, and in Asian countries, or in Chinese medicine, the circle is always about totality and wholeness. So where can you start looking at the contrasts and love whatever arises from the place of I am empty, I am everything and nothing? Because that form is the opposite of what we're taught, that, you know, if you're not everything, then you're nothing. And my father used to say that to me all the time. It was like, you were number one or you were nothing. So, you know, no surprises, I turned out to to be in service and be an overachiever and a recovering perfectionist and addicted to workaholism and all those other beautiful, bright things. I know some of you can relate to that. But also in this space of emptiness, how can we create more connection and come back to healing this great separation sickness, as I call it, of feeling disconnected, feeling empty, rather than celebrating and appreciating that through emptiness we're no longer separate. So the very thing that we want is the very thing that most addictions are built on. You know, what are you filling yourself up with in mindlessness to take you away from knowing that you were never separate to begin with, and that that's all just a total illusion? You know, it's something that you've made up, because form is not other than emptiness, and emptiness is not other than form. So if you're the one that thinks the thoughts, then you can create the thought in any given moment. Maybe we are Absolutely. I think we are. I think we are. And some days when I'm in total judgment of the human species being unkind instead of human kindness, Ricky, I think we're like a virus that's just, spreading around the planet, killing everything else. So, can you appreciate just today, actively appreciate emptiness, and that in emptiness everything is possible? And what are you hungry for? What are you hungry for? And where can you fill yourself up and be full of yourself without thinking it has to be an either or? Because that's something else we're trained to do, isn't it? Is have to be one or the other. So what if you could be full of yourself and also full of emptiness? Just a thought. I know it's pretty profound, but that's it. It's quite an optimistic concept, isn't it? To be willing to appreciate the no thing, the emptiness. Because if you're not empty, you can't be there. And because you are there, then you can't be here. It's kind of like the glass of water. If the glass isn't full of water, if you look at a glass and it's full of water, or my coffee cup, it's full of coffee, if I drink it, then it's empty of coffee, but it's not empty of space. Is this doing it for you today? You're all very quiet. So, I'm going to leave you with that profound appreciation so that you can actively engage with emptiness today and know that the true meaning of emptiness is that form doesn't have to have a separate existence. What if you can be everything and nothing, be full of yourself and filled up with emptiness, and celebrate that today? All right, I'm going to leave it at that. Post your comments and questions. I know this was deep, and I shall be in my own emptiness to see what else wants to come through on this, because I'm not quite sure what it's about. But tomorrow, as if it couldn't get any deeper, I hope that you join me tomorrow, because I want to talk about actively appreciating death as the non-death and the contrasts of that. Because every day in our lives we see birth and we see death. We say goodbye to the sun. It's not the death of the sun, because we know that it's going to come up and we get a new day, and we get a new opportunity every day to outcreate in the present moment. It's not the death of the sun, it's a goodbye to the sun and a hello to the moon. Full circle. Never ends. All right, thank you for joining me. Have a beautiful Saturday wherever you are. Bye. Mwah.